welcome everybody to another episode of Adeptus Ridiculous, the book club this time. My name is Bricky. Joining me is DK Diamantes.
That's me.
And that's him. And today we are reviewing / discussing the final book of the Night Lords Omnibus and Trilogy, Void Stalker, or better known as All My Homies Hate Syrian.
Yeah, fuck Syrian. All my homies hate Syrian. That
Spoilers.
Fucker. Anyway, yeah, we haven't said why yet though, so it's
That's true.
Mysteries.
So if you were not aware, this is the third book of the trilogy for the Night Lords, written by Dembski-Bowden. We listened to it on Audible, narrated by Andrew Wincott, who is very good at his job.
Oh, yes.
And the next book club we'll be doing, since we have hit October, will be an Orktober book. Will be listening to Brutal Cunning.
Let's go.
For the first time. Me and DK have, neither of us have read this, and it has been a request. We were going to do Kai Kaivis Came, but considering the month, we decided to.
October. You got to do the orcs, man.
We decided to hold that off. So, might as well get started. Or thank you to our patrons for being a part.
If you enjoy today's podcast, you should totally head on over to patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous, where you can get access to tons of really great stuff, like our Discord. You get behind the scenes stuff, bloopers if they happen, HD posters for men, women, everybody that's, I guess of legal age. I guess there's nothing that saucy about it, but there's a pretty great commissar that's got some massive fucking pecs, dude. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous if you enjoy the podcast, and thanks to all our Patreons.
All right, there we go. Perfect. This is why you do the intros.
You gave it a good shot. You came around to the Patreon. You did well. You did well.
Buy our merch. All right. So so Void Stalker. Well, first impression, good, bad, and where would you rate it in the 3?
I think Void Stalker was probably my favorite one.
Ooh, more than Blood Reaver.
More than Blood Reaver. Because I think you get a lot more conflict in this one. You get a lot more, like, inner turmoil with Talos and a little more development with Talos. Talos really comes across as a big fucking villain in this book.
Oh, yeah.
Like, in Blood Reaver, it was kind of like, oh, yeah, he's trying to get his shit back, so he's being real, like, he's being hard because he's, got to get the Echo back. And in Soul Hunter, it's like, well, you're fighting the Imperium, you got to be kind of whatever. In Void Stalker, whoo, boy, he's a bad guy.
That is my number one best attribute to Void Stalker. I put it as number 2. I think the Marine books are always the best when they have a lot of human characters to contrast, and there was a lot more of that in Blood Reaver. In fact, Septimus and Octavia really take a back seat in this book. Yeah,
until the sort of later-ish parts, they really do. There's not a lot of Septimus and Octavia. Well, I guess in the start of the book, Septimus. Boy.
But yes, the best part of this book, besides the fact that the action scenes are pretty good, but the number one, I'd say, best part of this entire novel is reminding you, like, these are Night Lords.
Yeah.
You've gotten used to them being your protagonists, and they still are, but let's remind you real quick what these people are like.
They are evil. They take evil to a whole new tier. Like, it's, oh boy, the things they do to innocent civilians is like, oh.
It's kind of it's a good reminder.
Yeah. These are not good people. These are not your heroes. Do not look up to them.
So it starts off, Talos had a vision where he's been asleep for nearly 2 months. And during this period of time, he's no longer able to see his visions anymore. He can't remember them.
Yeah.
But he ordered the Echo of Damnation to make its way over to Tsagualsa. The carrion world, the home of the Screaming Gallery, and where Conrad Kurz died. He doesn't really remember why he did that, but he did it.
Yep.
And this is a part I mentioned back in the Blood Reaver days. He had that conversation with Reuven, his bones in the beginning of this book.
Yes, he did. Well, yeah, that's right. It was his bones. He does have that dream where he's talking to Reuven, and doesn't Reuven say, like, your undoing will be the fact that you went back to the Eastern Fringes, or the Eastern Rift, to Tsagualsa? And he's like, no, I didn't! Why would I fucking do that? You're stupid, Reuven. And he wakes up and they're like, hey, guess what? We're at Tsagualsa. He's like, what? We're where?
I really like his conversation with Reuven, because as much of a bastard as Reuven is, he makes good points often.
He does. And it's funny because, like, Talos starts making a lot of the same points that Reuven made in that little dream, where Reuven was like, yeah, like, we're so stagnant, we're so happy with being so static, and nobody wants to win the war, and that's why I betrayed you, because Abaddon is trying to win. He's actually trying to hurt the Imperium. He's not happy with just, like, surviving and causing terror against, like, these weak little guys that have no challenge.
And that was the conflict between Talos and Zarl, where eventually, with time, Talos kind of took the side of Reuven, where he was like, I want to fucking live. And Zarl was always the kind of like, who cares?
Yeah, we're fine the way we are now. We're good. We don't have to stress, and Which
led to what might be the best monologue in the whole series, where he's yelling at Zarl.
Oh,
and he's like, I'm gonna burn everyone and throw the ashes on the Emperor's palace. And I mentioned that in the Night Lords extra episode we did, that quote.
And they had to hold him back from, like, going after Zarl. He was gonna, like, full on, like, oof. That was brutal.
he fucking throat punched Varial out of the way.
Yeah, like, damn.
But before that,
Zarl
when he wakes up,
like, if they fought, Zarl would have fucking destroyed him.
Oh, Zarl slaughters everybody. He's such a...
Zarl would have fucked him up, dude. That was like one of those, dude, hold me back.
Yeah, swing first, man. Swing first.
Hold me back. Don't let me go. Hold me back. I want to look good.
But backing that up, he visits Octavia's chambers after waking up. And they have a conversation back and forth, yada, yada, yada. And then he's like, oh my God, she's pregnant.
Yeah, for like the first whole time, he's like, something's different. You wearing new perfume? Do you do something with your hair? And it's like, no. What are you talking about? And then he can hear the second heartbeat, and he's like, motherfucker.
And he's like, he says, I'm a fool. And he just leaves. And then he proceeds to beat the fuck out of Septimus.
He beats the shit out of Septimus. Oh my God. Like, a part of me thought that Septimus was just gonna die right there. I was like, oh my God.
He got close.
Yeah, he did. I was like, oh my God, is this book gonna start out with Talos literally killing Septimus over impregnating Octavia?
And then Septimus was like, Talos, go eat shit.
That's right. He told him to eat shit in Nostraman.
Yeah, and I think the only reason that Talos didn't kill him is because he was like 2 months comatose, and he's like, I can barely feel my muscles.
Yeah.
Pain.
I told you not to, because she's the most important thing on the ship. She can't be having, like, labor issues and be like, her health can't be compromised. She's the fucking navigator.
Can you imagine if she's piloting the ship through the warp and she goes into labor? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, oh my God, what's gonna happen?
I don't know. Do Navigator children have, do they inherit the eye? The third eye?
So, apparently the Navigator gene is incredibly recessive. So, often when two Navigators mate, they might not even have a Navigator child. But if she mates with Septimus, there's a damn good chance that there's no freaking way that's gonna be. Yeah,
there's like a less than 1% chance if it's already hella recessive. Okay. Yeah.
But yes, he gets his ass beat. And you know what's interesting? The entire time, Talos is like, if you do this again, I'm gonna skin you and hang you in black market and all these words. Like, he has like a million threats.
Yeah.
And then he says, if you don't fucking shape up, I will let Varial flay you. And I'm like, that's worse than everything you said.
Yeah, that is so much worse. And
anything Varial based.
Yeah, and he was like, oh yeah, I'll make sure that you survive the flaying, and that all, like, your arms and your legs are removed, and you're just a cowering, skinless thing. And then, like, I think there was one last thread in there that I was like, oh my god, like that's really fucked up. Like he was gonna show him his heart or something, or he was gonna feed him his eyes as he was like a skinless, armless thing, and it was like, oof.
Honestly, all of the threats meant nothing to me until he said Varial. I was like,
yeah.
oh, okay.
Oh god.
Back it up.
Yeah. Ooh. You don't want to end up on Varial's table. You don't want to end up on Talos's table either. But yeah, Varial.
Yes. But so this is arguably the best part of. so after this, he kind of Talos kind of had to have this little like moment of clarity, and so that's when he started yelling at Zarl, and he had the big old speech, which was it's just such a good speech. I love that.
Really great speech.
But then they go down to Tsagualsa, and we get a wonderful little bit where you see it from the eyes of like this old kind of militia guy down there.
Yeah, the Archregent, I think.
Well, you get the Archregent, who's like the president, the leader.
Oh, right.
But no, there was like that other old man, militia man, with his las gun, and he was like, what, the storm shouldn't be here yet. What the heck? He like had a heart attack and died.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I like the dialogue in that part because he's like, whatever his name, picks up his las gun, which works fine, thank you very much. It's just like small little tidbits of like that in the writing.
Yeah.
It's very good.
On Tsagualsa, at that time, they probably wouldn't have had to use it very often. I mean, the worst thing they got to worry about is like sandstorms. Although they don't call it Tsagualsa, they call it what, Descartes or
Decartha or something like that.
Yeah. They don't even know it's called. They don't know where they are.
Darkana.
Yeah.
Darkana. Yes, because that's the name of their ship.
Mm-hmm. They have no idea what planet they've even landed on. They didn't know it was Tsagualsa. They didn't know it was the Carrion world. They didn't know this was the abandoned Night Lord's home planet. Or second home planet, I guess.
Yes, their little fleeing planet. Mm-hmm. But yes, then we get a wonderful montage of Varial down the street, like having like 4 corpses hanging off of his body chained. He's like dragging them through the street. Yep. You got like a little girl hiding in her basement, and then this fucking Night Lord walks in. He's like, I can smell you here.
Yep.
With his like blazing red eyes. Lucoriphus is like flying around, just grabbing people and dropping them.
Yep. This is also the one where like people are trying to like escape, and they're like, "Oh my god, open the bunker, we gotta get in! Holy shit!" And then they get in, it's just Uzas with his fucking chain axe, just revving it, and it's like, let us out!
It's like skulls for the 8th Legion. He's like got blood up to his like knee.
Yeah. That's not what you want to open the cargo bay doors to. That's not.
It is nuts that the protagonist, that they are literally showing a unironic like this is 9/11 level stuff. Like this is panic in the streets. Mm-hmm. People are screaming with their children, and they're running around, and there is our opposing force flying around and throwing their bodies into skinning pits.
Yep.
Full-born
genocide.
And these are our protagonists, and you still like them.
Yeah, these are helpless innocents. This isn't like a military outpost. These are men, women, elderly, children, just getting skinned alive and tortured because they just found the wrong planet.
It is very, very Night Lords, and in a sense, really fun because of it, but like, naturally, obviously terrible.
Yeah.
But there's a certain point of it where I'm kind of thinking to myself, damn, as fucked as this is, it's kind of nice that they're being Night Lords again.
Yeah. Because again, in the last couple books, they kind of almost seemed, I don't want to say nice, but you kind of forgot how savage they were.
Well, they were almost always fighting either other chaos, specifically the the Black Legion or the Red Corsairs, or they were fighting Imperial Space Marines, which, like the Blood Angels, which carved their way through Black Market anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that's war, right?
Right. So in a sense, there's a little bit of war there. This is full blown, like this is the Night Lords doing what they think is fun.
Yeah. And the Night Lords feel justified because like, oh, how dare the Imperium settle on our dead world? It was supposed to remain dead. How dare you? We're justified in this genocide. And it's like, whoa. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, and plus, and this moves on over to another issue. Well, not an issue I had, but our good. Like I said before, I remember we had a couple of people commenting on the last book club when I was talking about Octavia.
Yeah.
And how Octavia is, I think, used as a storytelling crutch. Her inability to pilot properly.
Yeah.
Which, like,
Comes
yes,
into play again.
It makes sense from a logical perspective, but it feels cheap from a storytelling perspective.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it makes complete sense. It's not like illogical. It's just upsetting because she did not notice the a warp beacon that was there for the Genesis Space Marine chapter, a sub-chapter of the Ultramarines.
The fucking blueberries have a bunch of strawberries as their cousins. Of course they do.
So of course they end up assaulting the Echo when they're down, causing havoc.
Mm-hmm.
So they make their way back up to go deal with them.
Yeah.
In which there is quite the fight, and this lasts for like 5 chapters.
It's a long time that they're fending off the Genesis Space Marines. It's a while.
It's a very long time, and not only that, but you get a whole bunch of Lucoriphus and Deltrian during this part.
Yes! Lucoriphus was my favorite character this book.
Lucoriphus is pretty great. I'm very impressed with how much they made him awesome. It's kind of his book.
Mm-hmm. He had so many spotlight moments. Deltrian was trying to repair the
void shield
generators. Man, and Lucoriphus just saves that, because otherwise Deltrian is fucking dead.
Deltrian got shot in like the ribs by a bolter.
Lucoriphus swoops in, takes care of that. And then I keep forgetting his assistant's name.
Lacuna Absolutus.
Absolutus is like, he's stuck on the other side of the ship, but they're about to jump to fucking warp. They have less than a minute. And Lucoriphus covers like half the ship on his jump jets, swoops around, gets this Genesis Space Marine, grabs him, like out of his fucking boots or something, like cuts him in half. His boots are still, like, his legs are still attached to the hull, and he just, and he still saves the assistant and gets him to safety and gets him in before they get ripped apart by going to warp. It's pretty funny. Deltrian was like, "Have you ever seen someone that's been ripped apart by the warp?" And Lucoriphus was like, "Why, yes, I have."
Yes, I have. Because of course he has.
I was in Blood Reaver, right? Didn't he watch his, was he
no,
watching
that was Varial.
Yeah,
Varial
did that. Right. Lucoriphus wasn't watching that, but still. Yeah.
It's one of those moments where Lucoriphus begrudgingly is like, I'll save your fucking assistant.
Yeah.
This slight act of quote-unquote heroism for a barely mentally aware servitor slave.
Yep. But it was a very important servitor slave. Like, didn't Deltrian say that there was something he could do that he couldn't really program another servitor to do or something?
No, I think he was just had a little bit more of his mind still with him. But not only just that, but also there was the part of, it was like, I think it was kind of that idea where Deltrian kind of likes him. Mm-hmm. And doesn't want his assistant to die, and that's like the remnants of his humanity kind of seeping through. Mm-hmm. So I think it was more on that side. Yeah. But yes, this leads to many wonderful parts as they're flying around. But then we get to the part. We get to the Genesis champion, which I will not lie, Telemian was kinda dope. He had very dope. He had a thunder hammer, a tower shield, which is very rare, Because the tower shield, like, it's from your feet to your head. And like a little wing, like Imperial wing covering his face, and like a Terminator shoulder pad.
Yep.
And he walked in there and is like, pulls out this stupid blueberry ass, like, I am the bane of heretics speech and all this shit, and proceeds to fucking body First Claw.
Oh man, he fucks up Talos, he fucks up Uzas. I'm pretty sure he fucks up everybody except Zarl.
Well, he hits Mercutian because the Thunderhammer basically with a single strike knocked out almost everybody.
Yeah.
And even after the fight, the Syrian was like, or Talos like, I've never been hit by a Thunderhammer before. Syrian says, be thankful it was glancing. It's like, it didn't feel glancing. It's like, if you're alive, it was glancing.
Yeah.
But he hits Mercutian so hard in his backpack, it explodes. And his entire like power supply goes dead.
He fucked him up. He fucked him up good. And boy, could he wield that shield? Like, good for such a giant shield.
He was bonking.
Yeah, he was bonking. They were horny on main, dude. He was bonking him.
You know, in the tabletop, a Thunderhammer does fucking 3 damage. And like to put that into perspective, those power swords that he used do like 1 damage.
Oh.
Most tanks have like 12 health. 4 strikes with a Thunderhammer will blow a tank up. Like
Wow.
This is not to be fucked with.
Didn't one of them say that getting hit with that was like getting hit by a tank?
Yeah, because it is actually a tank breaking weapon.
And he's just swinging that shit around like it's no big deal. Hooray! Like, Jesus.
It is, but then gets our big fight. Yep. Zarl versus Telemium, champion versus champion.
Yep.
And it's quite a long fight.
Yeah.
It is.
They fight for a while. They beat the fuck out of each other.
Zarl has to take his helmet off and proceeds to headbutt Telemian's headbutt his helmet.
Yeah.
Like 9 times in order to get him off balance and then shank him with Talos' sword.
Yep, he got mangled.
He broke his own face. He cracked his own skull.
He did. Doesn't he take a hit from the Thunderhammer quite a few times?
He gets glanced. He's like trading blows. He gets hurt a lot. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Before they started fighting, one of my favorite quotes, like Telemi was like, "Oh, heretic, this will be your doom," and Zarl was like, "Yeah, I can't wait for this fight to start because after we're done, I'm gonna let our slaves use your helmet as a shit bucket." And I was like, "You're such a fucker! Oh my god! Like this guy just bodied all of First Claw, and you're really coming with that?"
I really enjoyed when he threw like the Genesis helmet at Telemian's feet. He's like, I knew this warrior. He fought with honor. And Zarl's like, I know these warriors. I know they fight like every other time, trying to run away. Like, that's funny.
They know they're brothers. They know they're
brothers. He also starts like doing this charge, and then Zarl's like, I forgot how much you 13th Legion love the sound of your own voices. Like, Ultramarine digs, haha.
Love it. Love the Night Lords even more because they're fucking up a sub chapter of the fucking Ultramarines.
But then of course this is the nice little sweet moment where, you know, Zarl picks up Talos and he's like, hey, you know, I was thinking about what you were talking about earlier, you know, about like having a meaning to live, and Talos is like, later, man. It's like, oh yeah, you know. Later. And then he dies.
He dies. He succumbs to his wounds. Yep.
He flatlines.
Yeah. They were gonna give him the Thunderhammer because it was like, oh yeah, you earned this. You should keep this. And then his eyes kind of just roll in the back of his head, and
he just kind of goes limp.
Yep.
Yeah, because he felt like his heart blood, and he's like, oh, that's not good.
That's bad. Yep.
Yep. So that there was the death of Zarl.
It's a hell of a way to go out, though.
It's all the following stuff is actually like kind of tear-jerking.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Oh yeah, because Talos is like beside himself. Well, as much as Talos can be, yeah.
Right. Well, Talos that says like, I don't give a shit about plunder. I am. Do you know that cyclonic torpedo he fired at the moon to blow up their fucking ship?
Yeah.
You know that those cyclonic torpedoes are used for exterminatus.
Oh, okay. I mean, I just figured like, oh, cyclonic torpedo. It's got to be a hell. I didn't realize its specific design was to like exterminatus a planet. Although I guess
blows up planets.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it shattered like a fifth of the moon or something, or like half of it. But yeah, he's like, no, I'm getting revenge. I don't care what Night Lords would normally do. I don't care how much ammunition or armor or whatever the fuck is on that ship. They will die. They will burn. He is
very
hell-bent on revenge.
A very Talos thing. But after that, you know, he harvests Zarl's gene seed. He torches the body with the flamer so that there's no salvage.
Yep.
And wonderful little moment of Septimus and Octavia coming in. Octavia being like, I'm sorry about Zarl. He was a good man.
and Talos just laughs. He's like, yes, my brother, the heretic, the murderer. He was a good man.
And he fucking laughs until his eyes cry.
Yep.
Which I'm imagining that in like a physical form. And I'm imagining it kind of being one of those things where he laughs until his eyes kind of like water, and then he walks away, and you kind of get like the camera pan on his face, and his face goes from like laughing to kind of like real
Somber.
crying.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely.
Because they fucking kind of hate each other. Zarl and Talos were not really friends.
Yeah, they did but there was always like that underlying respect between them. Like, yeah, they weren't like the best of friends, but you know, whenever push came to shove and like someone's like, oh yeah, well we're gonna fuck you up, and he's like, no you're not. It's like, why not? Because I have Zarl. Like, you ain't gonna do shit to me. I have Zarl on my side. Like, fuck you.
I got my boy.
Yeah, I got my boy. I got our, you know, he's basically our champion. Now that Malek's not around.
Yeah, that was the only person that Zarl would admit he would lose to would be Malek, but Malek was gone.
Yep.
I actually think they would have. Man, imagine if all the fucking Atramentar were on that ship when they got boarded. They would have stood no chance.
Yeah. If the Atramentar were still there, that fight would have gone a whole lot different. You might not have. Zarl probably wouldn't have died because Malek probably would have dealt with Ptolemy a lot easier.
Well, he's in full Terminator plate, so yeah, there's certainly the possibility. Yeah. But after that, they go back down to the planet. And, well, there's a lot of things that happen after that. Okay, so we get introduced to a human character. This, like, gunnery chick. I don't even remember her fucking name.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I don't remember her name either.
Remember, I mentioned something that I would massively change about this particular book. I would have Maruk not die in Blood Reaver. Yeah. And instead have him be that lady.
Yeah.
Have it be her character, because she plays a big part with Makarian in the end of the book.
Yeah.
And that would have been, I think, a great spot for Maruk instead. I think I would have kept him alive and had him take her spot.
Yeah, that would have been a better use of Maruk than just having him sort of get splatted on the wall by Chaos.
I fucking loved
Space
Maruk, man.
Ish. Well, I guess he was Red Corsair, but yeah.
I loved that man. I really liked Maruk. But anyway, I think Varial punches Talos in the face and is like, hey, wake up. And Talos is like, I understand now.
Yeah, as soon as Varial punches him, he's like, oh, that's why I'm here. That's what I need to do. Oh, I totally get it now. Yo, I gotta go to Tsagualsa. I'll catch you later.
Well, first I think they do the tests on him and his gene seed.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, if I had to choose the biggest flaw with this book, it would be that.
Yeah.
I find the Tsagualsa flashback to be a tad pointless.
Agreed.
It was cool, and you got to see Sergeant Uzas, which was kind of fun. I think, wait, wasn't there the part in versus the Genesis chapter where Uzas like fell through the fucking ceiling with like a Genesis guy. He's like trying to shank him.
Yeah. He's like trying to choke him. He's got his hands around his throat, and he actually kills him. And they're like, there's all this gunfire, and Uzas is like, oh my god, and he's running towards First Claw, and he has to dive behind cover. And they're like, god damn it, Uzas.
Mercutine was firing his heavy bolts, and he had to stop firing. He's like, idiot.
Yeah. He just falls to the ceiling, choking a fucking Genesis.
I'm just imagining that they have these two firing lanes just in the middle of the entire fight. You just see Uzas fly through the ceiling like, ah, and starts like beating his ass.
It's the most Uzas entrance ever, too. Like, it's like,
I'm surprised he didn't blow through the wall like fucking Kool-Aid Man.
Or like the Juggernaut.
Yeah, he's just kind of like, can you imagine they're just fighting and then Uzas blows through the wall and he's like trying to bite the other Marine or something, just some bullshit. But I guess it was kind of nice seeing him as Sergeant Uzas.
Yeah.
In Tsagualsa, because he's had a couple moments of clarity in this book.
Yeah, he's definitely not as like Uzas crazy skulls for the skull god or anything like that. He's a lot more with it. I was surprised when he was like skulls for the 8th Legion, because I was like, hey, you don't.
That's a little different.
That's not your usual chaosy bullshit. That's kind of, but it's like.
Well, he has that one really sad moment where he's like, he starts panicking. He's like, brother, why are my hands red? I bear the mark of sinners. Like, what did I do?
Yep.
And I was like, oh, fuck, man. And it hurts even more when you finish the fucking book.
Yeah, it really does. Oh
that's a side note.
That is a side note, yeah. But the thing with Varial is that Talos didn't mesh well with his gene seed, right? So he couldn't quite use it properly. But Varial has like the ultimate foreshadowing where he's like, if somebody else had your gene seed and they meshed well with it, they could use it to perfection. They could actually be a prophet, and they could actually see it and have no ill side effects, and they would be a great Night Lords leader. Wink, wink, readers.
Wink, wink.
So that was like the big like reveal is Talos' gene seed didn't really mesh well with him.
Yeah, and that was the whole concept is that, hey, Talos may not be the person, but there might be one after, like that's the concept. And after that whole thing in the Tsagualsa flashback, I think after that they go back down. Yeah. Oh, fuck, that's when he gathers the astropaths.
Yeah, that's when he's like, hey, guys, I've got this really great idea.
Right. So,
yeah, because he's like, I know why I'm here now. Oh, let me go. I've got to go back to Tsagualsa, Varial. Catch you later. You're gonna love this. And it's like, oh. No.
What's that? The Dragon Ball thing. It's like, you're gonna love this. What you're seeing now is my normal form.
Oh God, yeah. There's always another form in Dragon Ball.
I think I just kind of skip him talking to all the astropaths because that's more like for the reader explaining how the warp works.
Yeah, definitely.
But so Talos' big plan is that he's going to take all the astropaths and psychically attuned people from Tsagualsa, skin, dismember, disembowel, among other things, them in a one room, the excruciation chamber.
Yeah.
And leave them all alive.
Yeah, they're all alive after that. They're not immediately dead. And he mentions this. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna skin you guys, and I'm gonna disembowel you and all this, but we're so good at what we do, you're gonna be alive for like a week without your skin.
He's trying to force the fear into their minds.
Yep.
And he's gonna leave all these 100 flayed, dismembered people on tables, very much like his own screaming gallery. Mm-hmm. And then he's gonna force Octavia to kill them all with her warp eye.
Which is the worst way to die.
Which the concept is that he is creating, by killing psychic attuned people after so much screaming, that he creates a chorus of agony.
Yeah, I
that
believe
is sent. down the astropathic pipelines.
So I think what they say is like was this the book where Deltrian sort of explains what the screech is?
That may have been Blood Reaver, but it's him fucking up with the princeps.
Yeah, he sort of like takes the idea of the screech and he takes it to like a universal level, and it's like, ooh, that's fucked up, dude. Because this horror screech is just going through the whole system, and it's darkening planets. Like they literally have no idea how far this screech is gonna go. Like someone asked him, he's like, "How many planets do you think you're gonna like quiet with that?" He's like, "I don't know, 100 more. It's gonna screech for a while, dude. It's going down the chain, and every time it hits another astropath, this screech gets bigger and louder." Because
they start to convulse and they like pop.
Yeah. So it's like it just keeps getting louder and louder, and theoretically this chain could go on for God knows how long until it reaches like a dead end or something.
It's unironic. Like the Dark Eldar and those groups have done worse things. Like in terms of things that are evil and all that, but it is arguably one of the most evil things I have read in a 40k book that isn't the Demon Kulaba, which you still don't know about.
Yep.
15,000
on Patreon.
Yeah, 15,000 on Patreon.
Patreon.com/Adeptus ridiculous if you're.
But it is it is. I think I find it interesting because it's such a unique way to do something so horribly fucked up.
Yeah, like
it is a very unique, like he basically made it so that all those Imperial worlds in that area have no help.
Oh yeah,
they are free for the taking. Sort of. He's also caused the warp to. He basically made a warp storm.
Yeah,
because you can't really get in the warp.
Yeah,
it's all fucked up.
And when the rest of First Claw's like, oh shit, you did what? You did what? That's crazy. Panic. Yeah, because like the Imperium's gonna come when they hear that, and like is this really something you should be doing? And they're also afraid of like the Imperium showing up, but it's not the Imperium that shows up.
He basically set off a bomb in the Pentagon. and left his fucking address and home phone number there.
That is, I said, yeah. He left a calling card that was like, "Find me here."
So the rest of those guys are like, "We are not strong enough to deal with what's gonna happen." That point is when Septimus is like, "We should leave."
Yeah, we should go. This is gonna. I need to get Octavia off this ship. This is madness. This is absolute insanity. And
it's time for us to leave because like Talos is gonna kill us all.
Yeah,
and he's pretty right. If I'm being totally honest,
he is spot on.
And it was after Octavia was used to kill all those people when she was like, "Okay, I think I'm in agreement. All right.
Yeah, I think we can leave." Also, one of the parts that so when Talos was like skinning all the people, Octavia tried to go into like his little excruciator and talk to him, and as soon as that door opened, she was knocked on her ass by the horrible like disgusting stench of like dead bodies and all that. She had to put on a fucking rebreather to go in and talk to him.
It is literally 100 people's flayed flesh and blood pooling into drains and gutters. Yeah. Like it's
Even her little slaves, the Valora, even they got knocked on their ass.
Whoa, do not talk shit on Volorai.
All
right?
Sorry.
There's no beating a hound, but Volorai was pretty dope.
It's true. A couple times Octavia was like, "Oh, I miss hound." I was like, "Me too, Octavia. Me too.
Me too.
I do
well,
too."
Well, Volorai is Nostraman for liar.
Oh, yes. And she's carrying around a gladius, right? That Syrian gave her.
It's like the size of her leg.
I mean, it's a hell of a weapon to carry around. That's a protecting weapon right there.
It is. But yes, unfortunately, the Imperium does not come for them. We get the Eldar. And you want to know why I don't like the Craftworld Eldar?
Oh, why is that?
I'll be honest. It adds to my disdain for the Eldar, but I think they do paint them pretty well in this book. They are witches. They are unknowable and frightening.
Yeah. When was the moment that Talos realized that the Imperium wasn't coming and it was the Eldar that he had accidentally summoned? Because, like, did he have a vision or something? Because there was a moment where he was like, he was like, oh, fuck, it's not the Imperium that's gonna, I really screwed this up. Oh, shit, we gotta go.
Yes, that was when the Archregent went to confront him with a gun.
Oh,
and
I
like that.
Yeah.
I like that part because he's like, Septimus, I was wondering when you would do this. He's like, oh. But when he was dealing with the Archregent, he kept seeing the Phoenix. So you know them as Jane Czar.
Yeah.
She is a Phoenix Lord, I believe is her name, is the title of her thing.
Love Phoenix Lords.
But so she was kind of like always in the corner of the room, kind of staring at him. And he's like, "Oh no, oh no." Did you know
one of the few times
Jane...
Talos panicked?
Yes, unironically panicked. Did you know Jane Czar has a model?
Oh, really?
Yep, this is what she looks like.
That's her. Okay, she's cool. I like her.
Yes, this is a more accurate one because she is part of a Latok. The second link that I showed you, because she has more black armor, I think.
Okay.
Is it a Latok?
Ooh, that's so dope. Oh my god.
Wait, is a Latok Eldar? Wait, no, it's not them. I'm sorry. Ulthwé. Ulthwé.
Oh yeah,
I'm sorry.
They're the Ulthwé Eldar. You're right.
Yeah, that's what they were called.
Oh, that's such a cool picture of her. Oh, that second one. Oh man, Shy, if you're editing this, put that second one in. Don't put in the mini one. Put that second one. That's fucking dope.
Yeah. So
I guess you can use them both, but whatever.
So the idea is that the Eldar didn't come from the screeching. It came from their seeing the future. They saw the prophet of the 8th Legion uniting the Night Lords and leading to the death of Ulthwé.
Also, it remember that specifically what they saw was the prophet of the 8th Legion uniting the Night Lords and fucking them up. Specifically the prophet.
Right. So naturally, they try to escape the Eldar a bunch of times, but everywhere they go, they're just found at every turn because they just know where they're leading.
Yep. And Octavia's getting drained because she's just doing jump after jump after jump, and at some point she's like, "Talos, I'm gonna die if we jump again. I swear to God, like you're gonna kill me."
And Talos was like, "You said that 4 jumps ago. Do it again, pussy."
Like he's talking to a child. Are we there yet, like, Dad?
Why didn't you go before we left?
I didn't need to go then.
But eventually they have no choice, and they have to crash the ship on Tsagualsa.
For one final stand.
Which leads to a pretty interesting moment where Talos stays on the bridge for as long as he can. And then has to leave, and he just starts slashing through the escaping civilians. Like, out of my way, I'm going to the escape pods.
Well, because they had planned it that way, right? Because they're going to Tsagualsa, they're gonna do their final stand, and they're like, well, what are you gonna do with the crew? It's like, I'm not gonna tell them shit, I'm just gonna crash it, and they can burn with the fucking ship. I don't give a shit. He's like, wow, that's cold, Talos. That's, even the Nightler's like, wow, that's kind of fucked up, dude, but all right, sure.
That's a little uncool.
Yeah. It's not cool, Brett.
That's not very pog there, Talos.
Yeah,
of the
it's
8th
definitely
Legion.
not very poggers. And Talos like, I don't care, it's based.
Fucking stupid.
I'm hip.
But they do make their way through, of course. They get down to the surface, and the whole concept is that they're gonna go in the catacombs beneath the fortress of Tsagualsa.
Yeah.
And do their final stand there.
Yep, because in the dark they have the advantage. They know the terrain a little bit better, so they could probably, they're like, oh yeah, maybe we'll survive for like 3 days or so sure beats the 2 minutes we'll stand if we try and do, like, you know, regular combat with them.
Aerial battle or such.
Yeah. I also, the whole damn time, who was the narrator again?
Andrew Wincott.
Wincott. He says catacombs. And I'm like, wow, what a coomer. He kept saying catacombs, and I was like, man.
The catacombs. This whole next section, because like, oh, they also awoke in Malkarian. Kind of forgot about that one.
Oh yeah, they did. They woke him. Oh, that's when Talos is a little pissed off at Deltrian.
He's like, you're literally doing all your AdMech bullshit, and he's literally there, and he's really mad.
Yeah. He's awake and he can feel all that. And it takes Uzas of all people. He's like, can't you hear the pattern? And Talos is like, what the fuck are you talking about? Uzas is like, he's awake. Can't you hear that? And he's like, oh shit. And yeah, he's been awake this whole time, and Deltrian's been poking and prodding and torturing him, basically.
Yeah, they had a little analogy with Talos owning a dog. And then Zarl would just occasionally like to poke it, and then then he killed the dog with a pipe.
Yeah, because like he's
and
like,
I'm like,
oh
Zarl,
yeah,
you shitlord.
He's like, oh yeah, Zarl would poke it, and the dog finally bit him, and Zarl was like, oh, you fucking dog, and then he brained him while he was sleeping. He brained the fucking dog while it was sleeping.
Yeah, it's like, god damn it, Zarl, you shitlord.
I know, right? And then Uzas was like, I guess he's not barking anymore. Ha 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 ha. And it's like, wow, you fucking Night Lords.
No. He didn't brain it while it was sleeping. The dog got sick of his shit and tried to kill him, and then he brained it.
Oh, I thought
he poked it with sticks when it was sleeping, and eventually it got mad, and then it went to try to kill him.
Yeah, and it bit him, and then I thought like it was like the next morning as the dog was sleeping, Zarl was like, I'm sick of your shit. Bop.
Oh, that might be true. I don't know. All I know is that Zarl bopped the dog.
Yes, Zarl bopped the poor fucking dog. Poor dog.
So Malkarian is awake, and he was very much like, give me one reason not to murder the shit out of that AdMech piece of crap.
Talos had to convince him not to, yeah.
But they end up going down, and they're like, all right, Variel, you're gonna leave with all the gene seed and stuff and figure that out with Deltrian, and he formally relinquishes Septimus from duty.
Yep.
He's like, Septimus, you are no longer my slave. I wish I could have heard that conversation.
Oh, God, yeah.
That would have been a great conversation. I'm actually a little sad that I didn't get a chance to hear it.
Yep. And Varya was like, well, how are we going to escape without a navigator? And he's like, well, you're going to take Octavia. Duh, idiot.
And I like the moments with Septimus talking to Variel, and Septimus is like so uncomfortable.
Who wouldn't be uncomfortable? Like, anyone that's human talking to Variel of all people, it's like, please don't.
Septimus like looks behind him, and he's like, Octavia might be there, and Variel's like, eyes on the front, slave. Your human mating rituals do not matter to me. He's like Hannibal Lecter. He literally is Hannibal Lecter. He doesn't blink or anything. That's entirely a shtick.
Yeah, he's super smart, loves eating people. Is an absolute savage. I mean, fucking Night Lords, man.
So after all of that, they all kind of do their little last stand on Tsagualsa. There's a lot of combat in this part.
Oh yeah, a lot of people dying. A
lot of people dying.
Night Lords get fucked up. Yeah.
Kind of hard to talk entirely about it just because of the sheer volume of it. But like, there's Lucoriphus, where all the bleeding eyes die besides him. Even Varasha, yes. Even he dies. But then Lucoriphus eats all their soul stones?
Yeah.
Which is
what were the Eldar that he was fighting? Because they had like wings, and did they have scythes? I don't remember. But like, I was gonna ask what kind of soldiers those were, because they sounded very elegant and very cool, but I was like, I don't know who the fuck Lucoriphus is fighting right now. They sound dope as hell, though.
There's a particular name. I think the Dark Eldar call them Scourges.
Okay.
Eldar flying models. What the fuck is their name? I know that there is a name for them. I cannot think of it at this moment.
But yeah, Lucoriphus fucks them. Even after all the bleeding eyes are dead, he fucks them all up. And you're right, he eats their soul stones.
And he literally eats their soul stones, which is super dark.
That's real dark. And he's convinced that he can hear them screaming in his mind.
Ooh, I think they're called swooping hawks.
Oh, cool name.
Swooping hawks.
Unfortunate fate.
Yeah.
Cool name.
Yes, there's some pretty interesting fighting there. But they're pretty cool. Swooping hawks are neato. And yes, Lucoriphus decided to eat their soul stones, which is pretty dark.
It's pretty dark. If you know anything about the Eldar and their soul stones, that's fucking dark.
A lot of the 8th Legion ended up going underground and killing a lot of So the Eldar, quote unquote, dregs are known as Eldar guardians. They're like base troops. Mm-hmm. And they were murdering them like easy.
Oh yeah.
However, the ones that were getting them are something called howling banshees.
Oh, those fucking banshees.
They are something else.
Yeah, they were using the Night Lords are used to using a screech themselves, but then these damn banshees show up and they're using a screech against us. What the hell?
In the tabletop, howling banshees force the enemy to fight last. That's the concept of their like debilitating screech. Mm-hmm. So it's used in that way.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's a pretty cool way they do it. I like it a lot.
Up a lot of Night Lords. Holy shit.
They kill a lot of people.
Yes, they do. Oh my god. I would not want to fight them.
But the first claw ends up getting themselves something known as Terminator armor.
Yes, they did. They just found some Terminator armor that was hanging around in the catacombs. Is that what happened?
Oh no, I think that I think it was more the concept of well no, I think they brought it down. I think they had the armor. Like they had the armor.
Oh, I didn't know that they still had. Why'd they wait until now to use it?
Well, because they have to get into the damn thing. It takes a while.
True, but why didn't they just get into the Terminator plate before making landfall?
Well, I'm assuming it's because they couldn't. I don't think Terminators can get into drop pods.
Oh well, Malkarian can get into drop pods, and he's in a dreadnought.
Dreadnought. There's a specific type of thing that holds dreadnoughts. Drop pods that hold dreadnoughts.
Okay, I was gonna say that. Wow, big drop pod.
Yeah, I'm not 100% on this one, but they brought it down. Maybe it was a time thing. I don't know.
Okay. I thought, I was like, oh well, it's Tsagualsa. They're underneath their fortress. I was like, maybe there's some like ancient Terminator plate down. That's kind of what I saw in my head, but I guess it makes more sense if they brought it with them.
Yeah, I'm not fully sure, but whatever the reason,
they've got Terminator plate.
They got the plate. It's there. Yada yada.
Yada yada. And boy,
they go to town with that stuff.
Yes, they do. They're all like, "Wow, this is really. I'm gonna. Oh, well, where? I wish I had this sooner. Oh my god, this is great."
Yeah, that's a lot of what they said. They're just like,
I like this. The Terminator plate, yeah.
I like this armor.
That's a cannon. Can I try it?
Like, no, Uzas. No, Syrian. Mm-hmm. But they do encounter Jane Zar, the Phoenix Lord, I believe is their name.
What a badass. Oh my god.
So Phoenix, so here's the sad part that I don't know, you know, Phoenix Lords don't die when they're killed. So when they are killed, they kind of come back to life, sort of.
Well, I guess that would explain the name, Phoenix Lord.
Yeah, it's a little difficult to truly explain, but it's either a concept where they do die and someone else takes the mantle of Phoenix Lord, or they get revived in some way. I don't quite know. But I like, it doesn't necessarily make it any less strong, the ending of this thing, because Jane Zar is the main Ulthwé Phoenix Lord that's come for Talos. She's come for the prophet of the 8th Legion, and has come to cause excessive murder. Does she fly her way in there with like a bleeding speed and immediately bodies the shit out of everyone, like throws a throwing star at Uzas's face and like cleaves off a good portion of his head.
Yeah, his skull is just like revealed. It's like, here's my skull from the wound he took. Yeah.
But at the same time, because of that, he's also been kind of knocked into clarity.
Yep. He's like back.
He's practically normal again.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't even care about like skulls for the skull throne or blood for the blood god. He's not Khorne Uzas anymore. He's like old clear Uzas, which will come into play later.
Which will. So this fight at the bottom ends up massively wounding Mercutian, who in his little final stand fires a bunch of bolter rounds at Jane Zar, and Jane Zar kills him.
Yep.
And then before, right when she walks over him, though, he like shanks her in the shin with his gladius.
Try to run away now.
Yeah, he's just slaying in Nostraman, but he's like, yeah, try running now.
Well, that's a hell of a way to go, too. Yeah.
Yeah, so he gets a good injury off, which is nice. But then after that comes the part, I think.
Is it at this point that Variel thinks that there's something wrong?
It's a little bit earlier.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Right, because Variel's talking about like how he now knows why the Eldar are doing what the Eldar are doing.
Yeah, because they're listening in on Eldar transmissions, trying to hear anything, and Variel's like, something's not right here. Like, there aren't that many ships making landfall. We made it through pretty easily. Something's not right. Like,
yeah, something's not going well, and that's when he kind of learns, like, no, the Prophet of the 8th Legion is there for ruin. You need to survive, Talos.
Yep.
Or your gene seed at least needs to survive.
Yep. And then they decide that they should probably, maybe, Variel might be one of the things that helps him survive, so he's like, we gotta go back. Septimus is like, what?
And Deltrian is like, this is stupid.
Yeah,
Fuck
Deltrian is like, you're fucking dumb, irrational, and
you're right. Yeah, irrational concepts.
Yep.
But I think this roughly is the part.
Oh,
the part.
Yeah.
We're here. So.
Fuck Syrian. All my homies hate Syrian.
Well, so this was alluded to a little earlier. In which Syrian is traveling in the lower decks because he really likes torturing and murdering people to sate his Slanesh desires.
Yep.
And he runs into Lucoriphus just chilling, and he's like, hey, Syrian, what you doing down here? And it's like, the bleeding eyes are everywhere. We see all you're doing.
Yep.
And Syrian reaches for his bolter, and he's like, oh, just try. And like 3 other bleeding eyes like crawl across the ceiling, and they're like, yes, try it. Yes.
Oh, fucking Syrian.
It was, and yeah, so there's a little of that. So Uzas is like, hey, Syrian, I've been thinking.
Yep.
And Syrian's like, wow, that's new. And it's like, hey, Talos wants us to do something. It's like, yes, let's talk about Talos.
Yep. Oh.
So, do you want to give the reveal, the big twist?
I guess. Uzas is for the longest time Uzas was like, I didn't kill the Void Child's dad, but it was like, oh, Uzas, it was you fucking fuck. It was you. And in Uzas's clarity, he says that he was trying to rack his brain and figure out, like, you know, because he knows he didn't do it, and he's like, Syrian, you motherfucker, it was you, wasn't it? You killed the father, and
the Voidborn's
father, and how many countless people have you killed? And it was blamed, I got blamed for it. He's like, I was thinking about it, and sure, I went on my rampages, and certainly I killed my fair share of crewmen, but not as many that have been pinned on me, and it's you! You've been sating your Slaneshi desires this whole time, and the only reason I'm in Sinner's Red is because of you. I'm paying for your sins, and this is bullshit!
He probably Uzas probably killed plenty of people, but he was blamed for hundreds more.
Yep. Than what he actually did.
And Syrian pegged it all on him because he was the easy target, because he's crazy.
Yeah, because you're always shouting about your blood for your blood god and your skulls for your skull throne. It's your own fault.
He was, and in a sense, it's worse because he kept on saying, "I didn't kill the Voidborn's father." And even we didn't believe him.
Yeah, I was like, okay, at some point I was like, oh yeah, at this point, Uzas is just gonna be like, yeah, it was me, I fucking did it. And then this twist, and I'm like, oh no, Uzas. Oh no.
See, a lot of people really hate Syrian and for this. And I don't. I think Syrian is good comic relief character, and I like his as a character. Mm-hmm. I don't think I hate him because it's on brand. Like, Syrian is a liar and a sadist and a bad person. Yep. Wow. How different than the Night Lords?
Yeah. Up until this point, I would have been with you. But once this happened, I was like, man, fuck Syrian.
No, don't get me wrong.
It's
sad. It's sad because of the sheer amount of like pain he's caused Uzas, who is still a bad person, but didn't deserve what he got.
He does
deserve it.
I mean,
he's a fucker.
They're all fuckers. But
they're all fuckers.
I think what made it such a knife twist is like, that's your brother. Like, yes, you're a Night Lord. Yes, you're bad, but that's your brother.
I don't think it was that. I think it was because Uzas kind of has this allegory of like a dementia patient.
Oh,
where
definitely.
He has moments of clarity every so often. And when you see when he has those moments and you see like the old kind of, as honorable as Night Lords can be, Sergeant Uzas, it makes that much sadder.
Yep.
And to think that it was amplified by him, that's where it gets rougher.
And so that part is bad enough, but what happens next might be just the like, oh boy, the cherry on the tragedy cake.
Yes.
Because so Uzas like, I'm gonna tell Talos, you're gonna admit what you fucking did to Talos, and then we're gonna whatever. And he was even like, okay, sorry I was so fucking angry, but whatever. And he turns his back on Uzas, and Uzas takes a shot at him.
No. He turns his back on Syrian.
Oh, Syrian.
And Syrian charges him.
I said Uzas, right. Yeah, Syrian, his back is turned to him, and he takes a shot at him. But Uzas fights him off, and Uzas fucking kicks him in the stomach or something?
No, he kicks him off the battlement they're on, which then Syrian lands like 20 meters down and I think breaks his leg.
Yeah, well, his legs are trapped under some rubble, or they're trapped under some debris or something, and he can't move and he can't get himself free. And if you've been reading the Night Lords trilogy books, this scene should look real familiar. Cause
this was in the first like 2 hours of Soul Hunter.
Yeah, because Uzas is coming up on him with his chain axe, and Talos just happens to be in the distance, and Talos sees it, and he's like, oh fuck, my visions weren't wrong. I thought this was supposed to be on Krythe. It wasn't Krythe. It's here.
I think the most painful part of all of that, because naturally Talos goes to intervene and kills Uzas.
Yep. He right through the back with Orym. He's like,
with
I
the
know
golden
that
blade.
Sword. Oh.
And it was really sad because you could tell that Talos did not want to do that. He was like, I fought for you over and over again. I kept on saying that you were worth saving, and I was wrong. And Syrian takes the secret to the grave.
He does. And the whole time Uzas is trying to tell Talos. Like he's trying to speak to Talos. And he can't.
Yeah, he's not trying to tell him. He's just trying to speak to him.
Yeah, and he can't. He's not getting any, and nothing's coming up. He can't breathe. So he can't even. It's like, oh god, this is so sad. Like, oh god, it's sad for Talos because Talos doesn't know. It's sad for Uzas because Uzas does know. And fuck Syrian.
Yeah, and even Syrian was like, "Oh, he came at me with one of his blind rages again."
Yeah,
I think that part is the part that actually is a fair enough fuck Syrian.
He came at me. I came at me from behind, screaming about his blood god, and I was like, "Oh,
you son of a bitch,
you piece of shit."
Well, regardless, yeah, like Uzas was not the imposter.
No,
but he also absolutely was.
Yep, Syrian plays a good game of Among Us.
Syrian is a fantastic game of Among Us.
He'd be great at Among Us. No one was sus of Syrian.
But I mean, Uzas always fucking hated Syrian.
It's true, he did, didn't he? That's right.
No, it's not Uzas, sorry. Zarl always fucking hated Syrian.
Yeah. And
this actually adds a bit to it, I'd say.
Oh, it's kind of funny too, because when Uzas was like, "Oh, you killed that girl's father, didn't you, Syrian?" And Syrian was like, "You've been talking to Lucorifus, haven't you?"
Yeah, it's like, no, I just figured it out.
I was just looking through my memories. Nothing else made sense, you Slaanesh piece of shit.
It's extremely on brand for the Night Lords as a faction, which is why I like the twist. And it's a good sorrowful twist for you to feel horribly bad for the character you genuinely hated most of the novels.
Up until this point, it's like, yeah, fuck Uzas. He's a crazy idiot that does stupid stuff. And then it's like, oh my god, I love you, Uzas.
All of the moments of clarity before are so much more painful now.
Oh god, yeah. Yep.
But after that, like almost right after that, Jane Zar arrives and proceeds to body basically everybody. She cuts off Varial's legs. Is she?
Oh yeah, because Varial showed up, and that's why they had to make their way out of the catacombs. Is because Varial was like, "Hey, we're here," and Talos is like, "You're what? Why are you here?"
And she throwing stars Syrian in the chest.
I was so happy about that too, by the way.
Yeah, that was decently satisfying.
That was.
And then she bodies at like Talos to an extent.
Yeah.
And stabs him with his own sword.
Oh. He has this moment where he's like, "She's killed me with my own sword."
And they have their the vision that they saw in the beginning of the book, where it's like, "Oh, there she is," and then the Blacken comes by and kind of scurries her away.
Yeah. Which is crazy that like a fucking Thunderhawk is firing at her. She's like, "Oh, zip, 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 I'm out."
Yes, like 4 double heavy bolters.
And she just drips out. Okay, cool.
But after that, they have the final moments with like, Lucorifus too. He gets shanked.
Yeah, Lucorifus gets shanked with her spear.
I totally forgot. Varial sees Lucorifus unmasked, and he looks like a bloated corpse, like left underwater for too long.
Yeah, and he asks Lucorifus like, "What the fuck are you?" Like,
he's like, "I don't know."
He's like, "It's been so long since I knew. I just am." And he's like, "Does the feeding and eating of flesh keep you alive?" He's like, "I don't fucking know, but I love doing it."
Yeah, he's really strange looking.
It's very. Put the helmet back on, Jesus.
It's almost like he had a moment of insecurity about his features there, which I think gave him even more intrigue.
Yeah, definitely.
But after that, Talos goes to Syrian's completely frayed, disgusted like chest cavity, and Syrian does do an apology to Uzas there. He's like, "Uzas, you're a piece of shit. I hate you, but I am sorry."
Yeah, well, fuck you anyway.
Which, you know, little too late.
Yeah.
But even so, it was nice to at least have.
When he dies, is his soul going to Slaanesh?
Syrian?
Yeah.
I don't really know.
I hope it does, and I hope Slaanesh fucks him over for all of eternity.
Well, I mean, there's not a lot of their souls aren't going to be doing great.
Although, would Uzas go to Khorne? Uzas might like that.
The Slaanesh thing, well, no, Uzas never deemed him as ever praying to gods.
Oh, that's right, you're right, yeah.
He always considered himself, like, using their power and never
praying to them, you're right.
Right, which isn't fully true.
Yeah.
He was absolutely...
Uzas would love being a Khorne demon.
He would probably enjoy that.
Yeah.
But he does have his final little ending bit, and he does say his signature Syrian line, or he's like, "So, how are you?"
His chest is. How are you?
Because he said that like 5 times. Like he was once alone with Octavia. It's like, so. And then he was alone with the Atramentar. It's like, so, how are you?
How are you? Yeah,
I think he says that to the Black Legion Terminators when they're left outside.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, it's his little signature line, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then Varial is like, his legs are fucking gone, and he was stabbed in the chest, and he's like, I will live. I have stenched the flow of blood. And sounds like, shut the fuck up, Varial. Shut up.
Shut up. Shut up.
It's like, and then he keeps on talking. He's like, shut up, Varial. I am so sick of you.
Yep.
But
and then I think after this is when Talos' vision actually happens, right? Where he's talking to Octavia and Septimus.
I think it was a little bit before.
Oh, okay. Well, I figured it had to be after Varial was injured, because that's when like Talos is like, hey, you guys should probably leave, but be aware, Varial's gonna come for that baby at some point. No matter where you go, he's gonna come for it, and he's gonna get it. So
run away.
Heads up.
So run away as far as you can, because Varial is going to come for your child.
He wants that baby.
And he does not care one bit.
He's not a good person. Don't know if you've noticed. So, yeah.
Yes. So, with his little ending... Oh, we didn't talk about Malkarian underneath the catacombs.
Oh, yeah.
He has a fun little moment where he's shepherding that one girl. I don't even really remember her name, because it should have been Maruk, goddammit.
I think it started with an E. Did it start with an M? Whatever. She's just a fucking...
Oh, I think it starts with an M.
Yeah.
Malona. But he's down there fighting off all the howling banshees, and all like the people are stabbing at his limbs, and he's like, stop that.
Boom, and smash.
Bonk.
Yeah. They were horny on main.
Oh yes, he was horny. They were horny on main. Malkarian fixed that.
Yep. It's a good man.
But he had this kind of fun little idea, or is like, I have killed multiple captains. I slew a Blood Angels hero twice. my story ends in glory. Why in the hell would I ruin it by saving one slave?
Yep.
And then the book says that he opens up the room with bolter fire, and I thought he killed her.
What a twist that would be.
I thought he was like, well, I don't give a shit, and kills her. But no, he saves her life.
Yeah, he actually does shepherd her out of the catacombs.
Just this, because he kind of just wanted to tell her about his world.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, he was like an old man wanting to talk about his life.
Yeah.
And she's like, what's a primarch? And he's like, just a myth. Don't worry about it.
Forget I said anything. Don't worry about it. You don't.
It's kind of sad, because in a sense, the Imperial propaganda has really removed any of that.
Yeah.
So he's like, my history is anathema to these people.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of sad.
Yeah. I have no idea.
Yeah, like, old people want to talk about this stuff.
Yeah. And nobody would get it. Nobody would understand.
But Talos goes to fight Jane Zar with about 4 grenades primed in his hand.
He took one from, he took a couple from Varial, took one from Syrian, and maybe one from Lucorifus?
I don't quite remember. Lucorifus is just kind of there being bodied.
Yeah.
But yeah, he gets stabbed by Jane Zar, and he's like, presents.
Presents. Boom.
Gadoosh.
Badoosh. And she is, well, she actually technically survives that.
Well, she's like missing half of her face, and she's like,
yeah, she has like one arm is left, and she's like crawling through the dirt. And what's the first thing that she sees? Oh, look, it's Malkarian fresh from the catacombs.
Valkyrian. He's like, oh look, a bug.
Squish.
Just fucking steps on her face and turns into a red mist. He's like, I have to do everything for that boy.
Yep. He looks around. He's like, I have to finish everything for that boy.
It's kind of humorous, but also very endearing.
Yep. Because Talos is dead. Talos
is dead.
Yep.
And
100%.
we have our 2 epilogues. We have Septimus and Octavia most likely escaping, which is nice.
Although they are very paranoid of Variel eventually finding them and taking the child. I think Octavia has nightmares about it.
Yes.
About
and
like
also
him like feeling her stomach and...
Yeah, and also there's also the issue of the Imperials just not accepting them in general.
Yep. Well, they came up with
then,
some dumb cover story, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're fine."
Yeah, but there's still the worry. If there's no Inquisitor there.
Oh yeah, an Inquisitor would. Yeah, fair enough.
But then there was the other epilogue,
the big one, right?
Yes, well, we've already been going for an hour and 16 minutes, so we may want to keep it somewhat brief. But the long and short of it is, Variel got the gene seed.
Yep.
We now have
gene seed.
The new prophet of the 8th Legion, good old Decimus.
Flanked by Variel,
Lucorifus,
who I'm surprised he survived.
I did not think he would.
Yeah, and the Atramentar Malik and
Garadon.
Yeah. Garadon.
So the Atramentar did. They did kind of like a Star Wars meme where it's like, how did you live? It's like, that's a story for a different day.
We've got more. We've got an Atramentar series of books coming out in about 2 years.
Yeah, it's like, okay, like, fine, I'll give it to you. Fine, whatever. I'm just happy that they're there.
And it was funny because the whole time they were just like, oh yeah, the prophet. I was like, wait, did Talos survive? What?
Nah, they got their own prophet, which, if you didn't know, the Craftworld Ulthwé assists the Cadians in the defense of Cadia. But they were stopped and ultimately defeated by the Night Lords in the 13th Black Crusade.
And remember earlier they were after the prophet. They were like, oh,
who would bring the doom of Ulthwé.
Congratulations, there's your prophet.
You played yourself.
You got the wrong prophet.
Or we have the usual issue with the future.
Yeah.
You
tried to stop it, but you made it happen. Yep.
Exactly.
Do you think Decimus is the child of Octavia and Septimus?
That is entirely left up to interpretation.
I think Decimus. Decimus would be the 10th, although they were 7 and 8. So
nine was Maruk.
Oh, that's right. 9 was Maruk, so he would be the 10th slave.
The question is, if you want the Night Lords ending, the answer is absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah. Variel was gonna find that kid, and that's probably gonna be the perfect source for the gene seed.
Now, if you want the, like, they could have named it Decimus, because do you think Variel really is sentimental?
That's fair.
Especially of them two?
Yeah, I guess so. It was also a nice little touch that Decimus's armor was decorated with all of First Claw, like, memorabilia. Like, it had a Zarl flayed cape a little bit. It had the chains that I think Syrian wore. He had Orem and the bolt gun, and he had, like, the helmet of Talos. Right?
Well, the flayed cape is Uzas. He has the cape of skin.
Right.
I think Zarl had some of the. They all had chains to an extent. But,
yeah. He was like a walking dedication to First Claw.
Yeah, it's funny because you actually do get a cameo from First Claw and Champion Malak in the Conrad Kurz book.
Oh, okay.
There's a little part where one of the Night Lords is looking for Sevatar. And he's asking around, and this one Terminator just kind of quietly points in a direction. He's like, "Thank you, Malak," and he walks away. And I'm like, I know you. There he is.
The champion.
It's my boy.
Yeah.
But Yes, it ends with this kind of like, I am Decimus. I will help lead the 8th Legion, yada yada.
Yep, the prophet. The true
right.
prophet.
Has this feeling of, I guess you would call hope, but it's also hope for some bad people.
Yeah, some bad people looking to do some bad things that will lead to Cadia falling.
Yes, so little here and there on that. But Varial is alive, Lucorvus is alive, the Atramentar are alive.
Mm-hmm.
They're all there. And I must admit, it is a welcome, if a little sappy and a little overblown ending to the series.
I liked it. I liked it. It felt kind of like that closure that I was looking for, that everything didn't just end on like ultra depression, although it's 40k, that'd be a perfect way to end it. I liked it. Also,
Yes.
if we could get a Decimus trilogy books, that'd be great.
These books came out like 10 years ago.
Ooh.
So like Decimus, as far as I'm concerned, is alive and a person, but has no model and no lore written about them because no one gives a shit about the Night Lords.
Oh, that's sad. Because that'd be a great mini. Because he should, by all accounts, be leading the Night Lords. Like he's an actual perfect prophet.
If you, I don't know if they have like a chapter master. No, they don't, because that's like a leader of a chapter, and legions are kind of spread.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, the war band of Decimus would be a thing.
Yeah, I don't know how you would stop that, because he can literally he has perfect future sight.
Right. Well, so does a lot of people. But
Well, I guess yeah, fair.
but yes, it would be a great model to come out with, and I don't think they ever will, but it would be a wonderful model. I like the book. The ending is a little sappy. It ends with him being like, "My name is Decimus. No, this has been Void Stalker," written by Aaron Dembski-Bowden. I'm like, okay.
All right.
It's and you know, Lucorvus just living just cuz, and the Atrament are coming back just cuz. It's a little sappy, but I'm okay with it. It's an acceptable amount of sap.
I was happy to see my boy Lucorvus back. I don't care if it's sappy. I was happy to see Lucorvus back and crawling on the walls again.
Lucorvus is a fucking dude. He's I thought I wouldn't like him at first, and I kind of didn't. But he's got that part when he's just staring at the fucking dude in the console in Blood Reaver, and he's like, "You are not from the sunless world. What's wrong with you? That's weird." Gets really close to this face. "What's up?" And I'm like, "Oh my god.
What's up, bitches?"
I can imagine Lucorvus having like Lucora drip. I can imagine Lucorvus of all the people. I can imagine Lucorvus of all the characters being dripped in Supreme. I don't know why, but I see him dripped in like Supreme Night Lords, and he's got like shades on, but you see the tear trails beneath the shades from the bleeding eyes,
like a gang tattoo.
Yeah.
He also eats his own. He ate the bleeding eyes when they were dead.
Oh yeah, he literally ate the bleeding eyes, the dead bleeding eyes.
He's like, the Night Lords might have something to say about this, but they're not here. Hum, nom, 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 nom.
Basically. So that was Void Stalker.
Loved Void Stalker. Void Stalker was great. That was my favorite one.
I like Blood Reaver more, but Void Stalker would be number 2 for me.
Blood Reaver's close to me. It's close, but I like Void Stalker more.
I like Septimus a lot. He's a Giga Chad, and I think I liked his amount of effort in that book.
Yeah.
As for the wonders and wonderful world of the Night Lords, I did see a recent comment on one of our Dice Check battle reports where it's like, "Bricky, I know you're watching this, you fuck. You made me a Night Lords fan from the books, and now I'm $1,000 in the hole."
Oh. He's making an army.
He's making an army.
These books will do that to you, though. Like, these books will make you a fan of the Night Lords for sure.
Is that so, DK?
Yeah, I'd say I enjoy the Night Lords. I mean, I wouldn't say like I'm gonna go out and buy $1,000 worth of models of them or nothing, but I would definitely say Night Lords are on my, I'm a fan of. I don't think they surpassed the Thousand Suns for me, because that was like my OG, faction, but yeah, they're cool.
Oh, I only say this because I have a Night Lords army now.
Yeah, you do.
I do.
You do.
Well, a GG well played, an easy no re from from Jane Czar, the Craftworld bitch, who is pretty awesome, I won't lie.
Yep.
And also to our good boys, Talos. You know, in a weird sense, Zarl going out earlier in the book almost feels better because he didn't go out by... He went out, like, in this very heroic way.
Oh, yeah. Super heroic way to go. Defending his brothers against
While making fun of them.
Yeah. Against a seemingly undefeatable foe that nobody else could tangle with. Only the... Well, I guess he's not the champion. But the first clause champion, Zarl, was the only one that could save them. It was a good way for him to go.
Yes. And, of course, it's our boy Zarl, who... You gotta respect it. But also, it led to some really good little tear-jerky moments.
Yeah, he couldn't get bitched out by some Eldar. Like, that would have been sad to see Zarl getting bitched out by Eldar. No way. No way.
No way.
Let him go out like a champ.
Hear that? Our Eldar? You guys suck.
Yeah, you fucking elves.
The elf they lovers think they have an opinion.
Ha! Not here. Not now.
All right. Next book club next month. Brutal Cunning.
Brutal Cunning. I'm
Brutal
looking forward to that.
Cunning.
Finally,
Yes.
a book on Audible that isn't over 10 hours long.
Yay! Yeah, the Primarch books are normally like 6 to 7 hours. So they're really nice.
The night one
if
shows you
there's
was
any-
all like 12 to 14 hours. I was like,
so
shit,
long.
I need the whole month to do this.
All right, everyone. Thank you for watching. My name's been Bricky. You can find me at Bricky DK.
Yeah, I'm DK. You can find me at DK Diamantes on all the things, at all the places where you do all the things. Mostly.
Bye-bye.